Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. We get together most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. I'm going to refresh my share here and make sure everyone sees the screen. And we're going to go through fundable shelf corporations, but a little bit of a different discussion today. We're going to look deeper at both the perspective of a business plan and financial projections for selling shelf corporations. And if you're looking at what you could do to help people and earn an adult income, this extra level of substantiation, I think, might nudge you forward. So the flyer for the Fundable Shelf Corporation hasn't changed. We've offered it to each of you. If you don't have it, let us know. You'll edit the contact information. So what I love about talking with so many of you is I see where there's misunderstandings, and it's my fault, not yours. I was talking to AJ this morning, and he said, no, I don't use the flyer because it directs people back to us, not to him. And I said, well, AJ, you need to change the orange box. Change the contact information. That made sense. So yes, this is the flyer template, and then you would change it with your information. And I think it's a really good way to communicate to a prospect of what a shelf corporation is, what it includes. Now, this industry code is a really big deal because what do you and I know? Different industries have different risk factors. So when we chose to develop these shelf corporations, we're not the sharpest knives in the drawer, but we're not fools either. We wanted to pick an industry code that's going to be easy to get funding. And SIC code 8742 is one of the most frequently funded codes according to the SBA. So this is a great code. Now, sometimes people say, well, that's not what I want to do. I want to babysit or dog sit or make macaroni, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. That's just the industry code assigned to the business. That in our society, legally or ethically, that doesn't prevent the business owner from doing what they want to do. It's just the industry code assigned. And of course, we could all be a management consultant. There's nothing that would prevent you from doing that. We couldn't have said, oh, well, we're all going to be medical doctors. That's also a low risk category. But I mean, you're not, and I'm not licensed to be a medical doctor. So of course it has to be something that's relevant. Okay, so the flyer is the flyer. Hopefully you have that. If not, let us know. We'll get it to you. We have a business plan and financial projections that I wanted to review with you. Now, when we work with clients, whether it be the 4-week funding, where it's like a custom build, or a shelf corporation, which is the purchase option, the buy option, we help them with a business plan. So let's go through this business plan because some of you have asked, what does a good business plan look like? Well, it's going to have the company name at the top. It's going to have page numbers on the top. It should look attractive. And it starts by identifying what is the problem. What's the problem that our business solves? Not what is our problem, I need money, but what's the problem in the marketplace? So let's go ahead and read it. It says, many small business owners require additional capital to launch, expand, and realize their full potential. However, a significant number of these entrepreneurs have not positioned their businesses to be fundable, resulting in loan application rejections. Pause for a moment. What you and I know is the average entrepreneur doesn't even know what it means to have a fundable business. So they would have to have had just luck to have a fundable business when they don't even know what it means. What do you and I know? There are certain elements needed to have a fundable business. And that's, of course, why we build it in to the Shelf Corp. Continuing on. This lack of preparedness creates a substantial barrier to growth and success for small businesses across various industries. The inability to secure necessary funding can have far-reaching consequences, including stunted business growth and missed opportunities, difficulty in maintaining cash flow and meeting operational expenses, limited ability to invest in new technologies or expand, and challenges in hiring and retaining skilled employees. I mean, we see some small businesses and they don't even have enough money to pay their CEO, to pay the business owner an adult wage, right? I mean, if you own a business and you don't have a salary set up of at least 10,000 a month, I don't know that it's a good use of your time. You could go get a job and make more than that without the risk. So money is a big issue for a lot of small businesses. May not be for you. Maybe you've got it figured out, but you're the exception. You're the 1%. The other 99% need your and my help, and you and I can help them. But continuing on. So addressing this widespread issue is crucial for fostering a thriving small business ecosystem and supporting economic growth by providing entrepreneurs, by helping entrepreneurs understand and meet the criteria for fundability. We can unlock the potential of countless small businesses, driving innovation and job creation across the economy. So this is the section called Problem Worth Solving. We help every client have this section on their business plan. Now, of course, not all clients are doing what you and I do, selling shelf corporations. So this could be a problem about access to health care, access to housing, or what have you. But this is a very important part, a core part of any business plan. Why? Because number one, it kind of causes the entrepreneur to stop and think, why am I doing this? But from a lender's perspective, when we're putting together a loan package, the goal is to present a package to the lender so the lender approves the loan. It substantiates, it justifies, it validates the request for money. You're respectfully wrong if you think all lenders know everything about every industry. We've got to tell them the story of why we're doing this. And this is an important part. So I'm going to pause there. Who has questions or comments on the problem worth solving section? Just type it into the Q&A. So I understand different businesses, different industries will have a different problem worth solving, but this reflects what you and I do. So it's a good example. Okay, if a question comes up, pop it up into the Q&A and we'll address it. So if we have a problem, of course, what you and I do is provide a solution. Now, that's what entrepreneurs do. And so sometimes I get somewhere between disappointed and agitated with people that don't think like entrepreneurs, like you and I do, right? Take Pearlie on here. Pearlie knows at her most inner core what we do. We solve problems. And when you and I can go solve other people's problems, we can make a shitload of money. We're going to look at the type of money that we can make by just simply helping people have fundable businesses. And this is all substantiated. This is a business plan right now that you and I could take to the SBA and get funded. So this is real. This isn't pretend. This isn't make up. But we have to have a solution to the problem. If you don't provide a solution to the problem, you don't have a viable business. Go get a job. All right, so what's our solution? Now, we would put your name in here. This is just a made-up name, but we would put in Bill Biggs' company here, or Bernard Barchi's company name here, or Glenn Wrigley's. This would be your name. So anytime you see this name, don't get thrown off. It's just what we plugged in for today's example. So we offer an innovative and cost-effective solution for entrepreneurs seeking a turnkey business primed for loan applications within days of enrollment. Our approach transcends traditional consulting services by providing a comprehensive fundable shelf corporation package. This unique offering equips each client with a fully prepared business structure designed to meet lender requirements and accelerate the funding process. And then we tell them what it includes. Of course, what it includes matches the flyer, which matches the contract. I was talking to Queen this morning. She's one of our top new referral partners. She's awesome. And she said, people hate surprises. And I think you're right. People want certainty. Well, there's certainty, right? We advertise what we do. We put it in the business plan, what we do. We put it in the contract, what we do. So we're all on the same page. Should not be any surprises. So what's included in our fundable shelf corporation? A legally established business entity with a valid EIN, professionally crafted lender-compliant business plan, like we're looking at now, a dedicated commercial address, and that includes mail forwarding, custom-built business website with branded email accounts, and that includes the hosting and the SSL certificate and so forth, Comprehensive business financials, including a balance sheet. Now, understand with business financials, and I think you know this, so I'm probably wasting your time, but there's two types of financials. There's historical, and then there's projections. Historical, we can't make up. They need to be accurate. Otherwise, it's called fraud. It's called bank fraud. You and I don't do bank fraud. But going forward, we can anticipate whatever we want to anticipate based upon our projections and our assumptions. And so this is cost. We don't want cost. But as far as revenue, well, we're going to make a little bit of revenue this year because we're not even going to get started until late in the year. But that's going to pop up to around 4 million in 2025. And my goodness, we're pushing what 5.4 million is shown on the graph. So two types of financials. Historical, you need those, but you can't make those up. They need to be accurate. Otherwise, it's fraud. You and I don't do fraud. But going forward, projections, we can be very creative in making projections that will substantiate the loan. So we provide a comprehensive set of business financials, including a balance sheet showing collateral, 100,000 in accounts receivable, and then we help them liquidate this. And I think some of you, let me scroll this down and maybe even make it bigger. I think some of you don't understand this. And of course, if you don't understand it, it's my fault. It's not your fault. But this is a big deal. This is a reason enough for people to buy a shelf corporation, even if none of the other bullets were included. You can take all the other bullets out, and if you're any good at what you do, you should be able to sell a shitload of shelf corporations off this bullet alone because it's real. We're providing them $100,000 in assets in the form of accounts receivables, and then we're turning around and helping them liquidate those. Big deal. If you don't understand that, I guess we need to talk more about it, but it's a big deal. And then credit improvement. So that's what they get with the Shelf Corp. We put it in the business plan. It matches the flyer. It matches the contract. So furthermore, by providing this all-inclusive package, which is what Queen says she wants. Queen doesn't want people to be nickeled and dimed, right? She wants it all in, all in. So here we are, all-inclusive, all in. We empower entrepreneurs to bypass the often lengthy and complex process of establishing a loan-ready business from scratch. Our solution dramatically reduces the time and effort typically required to qualify for business funding, allowing our clients to focus on their core business operations and growth strategies. We're committed to streamlining the path to business funding, enabling entrepreneurs to transform their visions into reality. All right, so what's your feedback? Give me a little, it could be a pat on the back or it can be a slap upside the head, but what's your feedback of what you and I are doing in terms of our solution? Now, I'm looking for feedback. Type something in, if you will. What do you think about this? Can you think of another industry that is ripe for a solution? There's so many people that don't have funding for businesses, and most of them don't even know what the fuck it takes to get funding. So they're not going to get funded because they don't know what it takes. So we can go out and teach them and help them build, or we can just provide it to them, a business in a box. And that's what people want. People want fast and easy. They also want free. And the great news is we give away the Shelf Corporation, right? Because we reimburse their cost after they go through funding. All right, so moving on. So then a good business plan identifies the target market. And so I'm not going to read this to you, but essentially there's a whole lot of existing small businesses. There's a whole bunch more of new small businesses, and pretty much every small business needs funding. Not all, but most. So that was a quick summary to save time. Competition. When it comes to competition, any industry normally would have direct and indirect competitors. So it's important you know the difference. If you don't, direct means those competitors that are essentially doing pretty much the same thing that you're doing. Indirect means that they are providing some solutions that overlap, but really aren't the same. That's a very simplification. So there are a number of companies that sell shelf corporations. All great companies. I have nothing negative to say about any of them. Great people, great companies. Really don't know much about them as far as do they do what they say they'll do, but I'm sure they're excellent. I have nothing negative to say. Our success, your and my success, is not based upon their failure. Because you know what? We get a lot of people that buy corporations from them and then come to us. and realize, oh shit, it's not a fundable business. They get a business. I'm not saying that they don't get what's promised, but typically it doesn't have what we provide. We have some strategic advantages, and that takes us to the next section. So we offer several key advantages. So again, why are we writing this? Isn't this just a fucking waste of time? Shouldn't we just be out playing golf or doing something? Well, we're building a business plan to get funding. And that lender doesn't understand everything that you know and that I know. And so we have to explain it to them and we have to substantiate it. That's the purpose of a loan package. That's why people will come to you in droves and give you $15,000 either upfront or finance to get this, because they need this package. They don't have the ability to do what you and I do. All right, so what are our advantages? Competitive pricing. Our price point typically is lower than our competitors, let alone the fact that we do a lot more. Plus, with the grant, that's refunded, so that takes the cost down to zero, doesn't it? We have tailored solutions, so if they need more, we can do more. Rapid implementation, as we've been talking about. We normally need 7 days from the time that someone enrolls with you and buys a shelf corporation until we have everything in their name and ready to go to funding. We say that we'll be ready on the 8th day. So essentially a week turnaround time. Now, I know we live in this world where a week seems like about a year and a half, but I have one referral partner, Dr. Smith. She's awesome. She signed up 3 shelf corporations yesterday. So she made 15,000 yesterday. I don't know how much money you made yesterday, but I know she made 15,000, and I know you can do the same today. But regardless, she was already texting me this morning, what's the status? What's the status? So there's a process, and it's fine for her to ask that, and it's fine for you to ask that. But we need about a week because this business has to be put in the name. We'll make it larger so you can see what I'm pointing at. We have to get this business in the client's name. Right? So there's some steps that have to be done. We have to get everything over to the client. We have to deliver it. So we need about a week. But in our world, we believe a week is fast. Maybe you disagree, but it is a week. And then great support. So we close it out by saying, by choosing us, clients benefit from our unique combination of affordability, customization, speed, and dedicated support. These advantages position us as a premier choice for business owners seeking to quickly and affordably have a fundable business. All right, so then we do a company, and so this is going to be edited to the client. The client in this case is Miss Renetta Williams. She's 100% owner, but this would be customized based upon the owner of the company, of course. Then we get into our financials. We have revenue by month. And so there has to be some thought into the revenue, right? You can't just say, well, I'm gonna make $1 million every month and it's gonna start month 1 and it'll be every month, right? That's normally not the way it works. Normally there's a ramp up time of controlled growth, and also expenses are consistent. Think about it. Pretty much all businesses have expenses. Sometimes people are so naive, they don't know enough about business. They think, oh, if I make $1 in business, I should keep $1. There shouldn't be any expenses. That's an employee mindset. Yeah, if you make $1 of wage, you should keep $1 minus taxes. But in business, there's going to be expenses. So, in our world, if you sell the shelf corporation, let's make it smaller so now we can see it, for 15 grand, which is normal, we need 10,000 to cover our cost to do all the administration, all the delivery. So you net 5,000. It's a great deal. It's a 33% profit margin. If you think, oh, a 33% profit margin, that's not enough, go look at what Walmart's profit margin is, or Amazon's, or Target's. They're all in the single digits, and you're at 33%. And what does it cost you to work with us to sell shelf corporations? Zero. We don't charge you anything. So you have an infinite return on investment. But so each time you sell a shelf corporation, we implement it. And so then you're making a 33% profit margin. So we have all the graphs. We get into financing. So most clients, of course, want financing. So for financing, we need to have use of funds. A use of funds explains what is the money going to be used for. It's like our shopping list. I have so many clients that come to me, they have no fucking idea what they want money for. They just got a hinch for money. Get me some money. Get me max money. I love when they say, get me some max money. Well, what do you need money for? I don't know, but I need money. Well, I don't know if you need drugs, prostitutes, or what, but we've got to document something. We can't just go say, give us a lot of money, bank. That's monopoly thought, right? That's childish. So we got to come up with some use of funds. Now, the great news is we can kind of come up with some creative use of funds. Maybe it's for some quote operating cost and working capital. Maybe it's for some office infrastructure. Maybe it's for some marketing initiatives and professional development. I mean, we can be creative, but we have to list something. You're crazy to think we can just go ask for $100,000 or $1 million or 10 million and not give some explanation. That's crazy talk. So, of course, we're going to help the client do that. And then we get into the projected statement. So I said earlier, right, there's a difference between historical and projected. You and I are going to operate a legal and ethical business. So we're not going to lie about the past, historical, that needs to be accurate, but we can be quite creative on projection. So for any of you, we have 429 of you on this morning. What I can promise is if you'll work with us, then we can generate these types of results for you. Selling shelf corporations, not pie in the sky, not too good to be true. We can take this business plan and these financial projections, which we've not even gotten over to yet, and we can absolutely accomplish this together. Now, maybe you want to grow more, maybe you want to grow less. That's up to you. We can scale it back or ramp it up more, but there's direct cost of running a business. So in this case, you're making $15,000 each time you sell a shelf corporation. Client pays $1,000 up front. You keep half, 500, send us half. We get financing for the rest of the $15,000. Now you pick the price, but we're using $15,000, which is the norm. So you're making $15,000, and then we're getting $10,000 a pop to implement. So that's the difference between the revenue and direct cost. So there's still profit left over. So what comes out of the profit? Your operating expenses. Most of you will have rent, or what we call mail forwarding, so that's built in. So Queen will like this. Queen says, I don't want any surprises. Well, we disclose it, so she sees it here. That's assuming that you're paying $100 a month for mail forwarding. Don't have to do that, but that's built in. You're going to probably have some cost for phone and internet, and that's up to you what you want to spend on it. This is assuming $200 a month. You might say, well, $200 a month, there's more than 3 months in the year. Well, we're almost down to November. So this is assuming that we'll get funding and operate starting November. And then marketing, and that's up to you. That's what you bring to the table, right? So you can either do marketing yourself, you can be like Romeo and build a team, you can buy leads, you can get referrals from loan brokers. There's lots of different ways to market, and we've had different conversations, but we want to budget something for that. And so we budget $2,000 a month for that. But you could spend more or less. That's what you want. One of our top producers currently, he spends right at, if I get this correct, $300 a day for marketing. Now he makes 6 digits a month, but he spends about $300 a day. What's that? About $10,000 a month on marketing, but he makes an adult income off of that. So it's probably unrealistic to think, oh, I won't have any expenses to run a business. You probably will. And you're going to have some way to generate clients, either hiring people or getting contract labor or marketing, whatever. But anyway, so we still have nice income after those expenses. And then, of course, you pay yourself. And we recommend every one of you set yourself up as a W-2 employee of your own company. So you're not self-employed. The world doesn't like self-employed. Own a business, but pay yourself. And we recommend weekly direct deposits, $2,500 every Friday. We recommend QuickBooks Payroll, but you can use whatever you want. So be a W-2 employee of your company. And then if you want to hire other people, you can, and they could be 1099 or what have you. But the bottom line is profit margins selling shelf corporations is good, very good. Profit shows very good. And so this can substantiate what we were talking about in terms of our requested loan, which was back. We kind of skipped over it. Where was it? Source of funds. Sorry, go back to it. Source of funds. In this case, we're looking for $100,000 SBA loan. And so we build that into the financials, by the way, in terms of go to finance. Oh, I'm sorry, let's go over here. More financial charts. And for some of you, this will make your eyes roll, but we're accounting that you're paying yourself each month. And that we also are paying the lender back. So if we get down here, we can see that we're anticipating getting a $100,000 SBA loan. And then in December, we start paying it back. We're paying about $1,400 a month in principal. I'm sorry, about $435 a month in principal and $1,000 a month in interest. And of course, as it's amortized over time, we pay off the loan. Eventually, more of it goes to principal than interest. Okay, so I've hit you with a lot, but we'll get to your questions, but let's just step back for a second. What's the purpose of today's discussion? Number one, you've got to figure out what you're good at. Are you going to be a lead generator or are you going to be a closer? I don't care. It's not like one's better or more important than the other. If you're a lead generator, be a really good lead generator. I was talking to one of you this morning. I won't say her name. Wonderful woman. She said, she wants to be a lead generator. And I said, great. Do you have your landing page? Because we give you a free landing page. You have your landing page? Yes. All right. Are you generating leads? And I went and looked at her statistics. She's generated 0 leads. She tells me she's out talking to people. It's like, well, you shouldn't have to talk too much to generate a lead, right? Because what does a lead generator do? You introduce and you feed them into your landing page and you shut up. Because otherwise the closer that has to pick that up has to dig their way out of all these conversations and expectations you've made. So you could be too involved and be ineffective as a lead generator. If you want to be a lead generator, drive people into your landing page, say as little as necessary, and get out of the way and make $1,000 a pop. Now, if you want the big boy role, then you're what we would call our white label partner. You're going out under your own branding, not our branding, under your contract, not our contract. You're setting the price, and now you're closing the deal. But that's the first and most important thing I can say as we close out today is figure out which role you want to be in. I don't recommend straddling both. Our closers are dogs. They'll close 91% of the deals you put in front of them. But that number goes down the more chatty the lead generator is. I have one of our partners that texts me and said, hey, I get this millionaire. He's got a yacht. I need someone to call him. That's not the process, right? We've got a very clear process. Free landing page, drive people into the landing page if you're an affiliate, if you're a lead generator, and our closers will close the deal. You make $1,000. Not enough for you? Then be a closer. We'll get you leads, but you got to close them. You got to actually be good at closing. Some people say, oh, I'm a good closer. But then you look at their stats, it's like you suck. You have no closes. So figure out which role you want to be in. We've demonstrated what a good business plan, a lender compliant business plan. I used to work for the SBA, not that that's any great accomplishment, but I developed business plans each day, every day. I set some records for the number of small businesses that I got funded when I worked at the SBA. So this is an example of a fundable business plan. This is an example of a set of financials. This is what we create for our clients, whether it be in the 4-week program or the shelf. The benefit of the shelf is everything is included. It's turnkey. So with that, let's get to the questions that you all have. Toby asked, and Toby, you've not sold anything, so I don't want to harp on you, but man, we got to go sell something, Toby. You're smart, you're motivated, you're well-spoken. Let's go either generate a lead today, Toby, or sell a deal. Okay, but with that being said, can the name of the business be changed? Well, sure, you can do a name change, absolutely. The Shelf Corporation, is a package. If you want to do a custom build, that's what we call the 4-week funding program, and that way the clients pick their own name and industry and all of that. So, yes, we can change the name of a Shelf Corporation if needed. Yes, sir. Thank you, Toby. Queen wants to know a little bit more about the wants me to elaborate more on the, oh, we'll go over here to the 100,000 assets. Again, if, and not speaking to Queen, but for some of you, if this is just too much, then slow down a little bit and just be a lead generator. Refer people in and allow our closers to close. But with that being said, we provide $100,000 of collateral. It says it on the flyer. It says it in the business plan. It says it in the contract. So when we're doing it, we provide $100,000 for free for each participant that gets a shelf corporation. It's real. It's accounts receivable. We do a sale of all the documentation that shows the transfer of ownership. And then we can help them collect those receivables. All right. Queen says, this is great. AJ says, great business model. Harold asked about performance. See, that's a great point. So as we've discussed before, but it's always my fault, so I might not have done a good enough job. There's a difference between phase one of creating a fundable business and phase two going to funding. So whether it be the 4-week funding program where we're building a fundable business, or here, the shelf where we're essentially selling them a fundable business, this isn't the funding. This is phase one. You have to have a fundable business or we don't have the opportunity to go to funding. Then we go to step two, phase two, Harold, and phase two then is let's go to funding. So just always keep that in mind. We separate those two steps. We used to not, and it was a mistake. People would get pissed off. They didn't have a fundable business. They'd say, oh, let's skip that. And then they would sign the funding agreement, and then they wouldn't qualify for any funding. And they're like, oh, this is a scam. Well, no, it's not a scam. You don't have a fundable business. You skipped step one. So now we don't even talk about phase two. Funding does not matter until you have a fundable business. It's pie in the sky. It's a false hope. We need a fundable business, and you and I can help them either through the buy or the build first. Romeo says, great information. Thank you, Romeo. Romeo is in the process of building a very significant team. And when we talk about these financial projections, what Romeo is thinking is this is the forecast he should be generating per sales rep. Per sales rep. You start taking this and multiplying this by 2 sales reps or 10 sales reps, or what Romeo is probably going to build with 20 sales reps. You're talking crazy number. This is assuming you don't have any sales reps. This is assuming that you're just doing it as a one-person show. All right. All right. Well, I think we've covered most. Now, if you need anything else, of course, reach out to us and let us know. But today we wanted to have a targeted conversation on documentation that we provide to clients. So we've shown you what an example of a fundable business plan is and financial projections. And also hopefully to nudge some of you along. I think some of you sign up and then you're like sitting on the fence. Get off the fence. Either go find something else to do or work at this. Put some true focused effort for 30 days. And let's start. We can go to 2024 and we'll go to profit for just next month. I'm 100% confident that you can sell 8 shelf corporations in the month of November. Now we need to start building the pipeline now, but I'm 100% confident. And if you do that, you generate $120,000 of gross income, and you'll generate a good amount of profit, 25,000 of profit. So, I mean, could we try it for a month? Could we try just doing this between now and November 30th, which I know is 45 days, it's a month and a half, but we need now to build the pipeline. We'll be closing deals in November. Let's put 100,000 in your bank account in the month of November, and then pay yourself a nice salary because you're worth it, and also have a really nice bonus distribution for yourself come Thanksgiving of another 25,000. Can we try it for a month? Or if not, what's your better plan? I've shown you with great detail, with great transparency. Here's the plan that we proposed to you. Here it is. Here are the numbers that it'll generate. Can you give it a try for a month or for a month and a half? But with that, thank you for your time. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Let us know what we can do for you. Bye-bye.